Yesterday, estranged former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick told Brandon Marshall and his crew on the I Am an Athlete podcast that he would be willing to return to the NFL as a backup if given the chance because he really, really wants to play. From a strict business perspective, I keep asking myself if he is actually serious about trying to play again in the league after being 5 years out. And here's why. Don't forget, Colin Kaepernick called the NFL racist and compared the owners to slave owners on his way out. And to think he would just be welcomed back by the guys who basically run the league is laughable in its own right. But the question is, why would you want to work for people that you think so poorly of and called one of the worst things that a person could possibly be called? What other line of work would calling your boss out like that result in you getting hired on the spot or them welcoming you back with wide open arms? Another question, is there more money in what he's doing now off the field as opposed to being a backup quarterback in the NFL making league minimum? Deep down, he knows that owners and GMs don't want some firestorm in their building all for a backup quarterback. I can promise you that. He actually had a legitimate tryout organized by a team for all the scouts to come watch earlier in his hiatus and blew them off to go throw at a high school with some of his buddies. Would someone who wanted in the league as bad as he says he does pull a Lucy from Charlie Brown like that at the last minute? Also, why not go be the star of the USFL? Make the NFL have to do something because your play is so good in this new alternate league. I say all that to say this. I really don't believe Colin is serious. To me, this is him trying to continue to be relevant as the league is going on half a decade without him and seems to be doing just fine. But my advice to the NFL may surprise you a little bit. I think they should sign him up, even as a backup somewhere in the league, because it's a win-win situation for them. On one hand, if he does really well and is a star again, you look like the heroes. If he struggles, you look vindicated in not signing him for 5 years. So why the hell not? Either way, to be honest, this saga's getting more stale than a box of croutons, and I'm ready to move on. And speaking about moving on, you need to check out Epic Will. But Cone, gonna bring you in. Blaine, I'm gonna bring you in. I wanna play this clip that we have of Colin Kaepernick saying this, and then I want your reaction on it. Let's go ahead and run the clip.
If an opportunity presented itself today and they said, we want to bring you in as the backup, would you take that?
Yeah.
You'll take that. If an opportunity,
I know I have to find my way back in.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I have to come in as a backup, that's fine. But that's not where I'm staying. And when I prove that I'm a starter, I want to be able to step on the field as such.
Okay, Cone, here's my question. I have a hard time squaring a couple things. And this is just business. Like, this isn't politics. This is straight business. If I worked at Walmart for 4 years and I went up to my manager or the highest person there and I said, you know what? This place is terrible. It's racist. You guys are horrible, the worst type of people. I'm out to go do other things, to raise awareness about how horrible you are. And then a year later or 2 years later, I come back to that same Walmart and say, hey man, can I please come back? We all please. What real person thinks that's gonna work?
Not gonna happen. I mean, Colin Kaepernick realized a long time ago that being a professional athlete can make you rich and famous, but being an activist can make you immortal. I mean, there is no upside for Colin returning to the NFL right now. As it is, you get to be the Jedi fighting the evil empire, you know? And I think that Colin thinks he is Muhammad Ali. He's not Muhammad Ali. I mean, Ali said, I am not going to go over and fight and possibly die in a war halfway around the world, okay, for a group of people who don't have a problem with me. There are people in this country that have a problem with me. That was a long time ago. Look, that's not Colin Kaepernick to me. I mean, I think the prerequisite for martyrdom used to be you had to lose your life or not go fight in a war where you could possibly lose your life. The 21st century, that seems to be exactly what you're saying. I can disrespect my employer in a disingenuous manner, I believe, all while I'm losing value every year and still demand that I have my job. I don't like that. That can't work to me. And I think that, look, I think Colin Kaepernick has to do two things moving forward to just like have it made, really, which is one, you put out a teaser of your desire to return just often enough that you stay relevant, and 2, just don't ever return if you're given the opportunity.
I really, what do you think about me saying the NFL? Why would you not sign him? It's a win-win. It's a win-win. Again, do I believe he is 100% genuine about this? No. No, I don't think so at all. But if you're the NFL, why not? Plays great. Look like the hero. Swooped in. Oh, see, we're all good now. Everything, it's dead. Everything we said was a lie and it's fixed now. Or if he fizzles out after being out of the league for 5 years, then you look vindicated in not signing him.
You could be that, or you're a racist for not playing him. Well,
again, if he brings that up,
why would you be surprised of him not bringing that up?
I would not be surprised at anything. What I'm trying to ask is, do you think Colin Kaepernick would rather keep doing what he's doing now, or he honestly wants to play?
I don't think this is about football. I don't think this is about race. I think this is about Colin Kaepernick. I think Colin Kaepernick is trying to play mostly everybody. Let's really, for the last 5 years, have you really heard, other than the one time the NFL came out and literally put out for him to come show up in front of a bunch of NFL scouts and he blew everybody off, have you heard really Colin trying to get back into the league, doing everything you can to get back into the league?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he hasn't. He called them slave owners, racist. So what you're saying now, you want to get back, you want to go be a slave. If they're slave owners, you want to get back in the NFL right now to go be a slave.
That's the part I can't square up.
That's what you're saying. It's not about race. It's not about football. This is about Colin Kaepernick staying in the limelight. That's what Colin wants to do. Let's look at it. You're 35 years old, buddy. All right. Time's not slowing down for you. NFL ratings been up almost every year. The Super Bowl ratings been up every year. This is like almost one of those things where, you break up with somebody and you just slander their name in the breakup.
Yep.
You slander their name. And then you watch them grow up and get past it and move on. And right when they move on, you hit them with a, hey, what you doing text.
Yep. When you look at the timeline, that's what it does seem like.
Again, you follow the bouncing balls. It's like a Disney movie. The NFL, been fine, like Blaine talks about, with the ratings. When's really the last, we started not really hearing about Colin Kaepernick anymore, and every now and then it's like a submarine. It's like you don't know what's there, you don't know he's there, you don't know it's a problem, then all of a sudden every
that's what I'm saying, a teaser just off
out of the ocean. And look at when it's happening. If you wanted to play that bad, take your ass to Canada. If you wanted to play that bad, go play in the USFL.
Or the XFL.
If you wanted to play that bad, why don't you go play 7-on-7 with Johnny Manziel and Terrell Owens? Terrell Owens is 48 years old or whatever, playing in a league in 7-on-7. I don't understand how, if I looked at you and called you the things that he said about the NFL and about the owners and stuff like that, and then asked to come over and...
Why would you want to go back?
Why would you want to go back?
In the XFL, he wanted $20 million to play. And I think if they said yes, then he'd want 25. And if they said yes to that, he'd want 30. Look, there are a lot of young men, especially young black men in this country, who look up to Colin Kaepernick and idolize him. And I'm not trying to sit here and cut down anyone's heroes. What I want to say is, when you look at the NFL, that there were NFL owners in the past who used to discriminate against people because of the color of their skin. The NFL was one of the great mechanisms and one of the great institutions to help us put away discriminatory practices. It was one of the things that said, you know what, the best guy will play, and it's a detriment to you if you discriminate against someone with a different skin color, because you're going to lose games. And people aren't going to go in the stands. The NFL, what we've done is we've confused imperfection. And our country is not perfect. The NFL is not perfect. No one's perfect. We've confused imperfection with complete evil. Okay, so if you can point at something and say, this system or this institution is not perfect, that is not synonymous with evil. And I think, and you know what?
Well, nobody's perfect.
I agree with your statement about signing him up. To me, there's one person who can solve this, and it's Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is on record.
Bring him and Baker in.
Pete Carroll is on record as saying that Colin Kaepernick is still, to this day, an NFL caliber quarterback. Well, you know what? You don't have Russell Wilson anymore. So when you were going around insinuating that all of the other owners in the NFL were basically racist for not signing this guy, when you had a stud on your team, guess what? Russell Wilson's not there anymore, and you need a quarterback. Put this thing to bed.
Seattle just signed Geno Smith.
I know.
So they got Drew Lock. There's two right there. I think they're waiting on Baker to finally get dealt with or traded, whatever it is. But, I mean, you go back and look at it. Why? He said he'd come in and be a backup. Like, that's what he'd do. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, you're good enough to go be in the starter right now in the NFL, which I don't think you are. But you come back and be a backup. You're getting minimum pay, minimum salary. The blowback you're going to catch as an owner, one, he sued the owners, and they settled. So you're telling me you're going to call someone a racist, a slave owner, and sue them and be like, Can I come play? Can I come play? You ran a smear campaign. If it's me, I'm taking a knee against Colin Kaepernick coming back to the NFL.
Let me break down the timeline real quick without talking about any of the kneeling stuff. And you guys tell me, okay, where I'm wrong or what you think, all right? Jim Harbaugh, the coach who drafted him, left in 2014, right? They went 2013, they go to the Super Bowl, okay? 2014, they go to the NFC Championship and fall short. At the end of that year, Harbaugh, the coach who drafted you and helped develop you, who really believed in you, traded up to get you, left in 14. You were benched in 2015 by the new coach, Tom Sula, in 2015. And you were coming off 3 different surgeries in 2016. When new head coach Chip Kelly also decided to go with Blaine Gabbert after having an open tryout, Kyle Shanahan comes in, and then he got released and had meetings with other teams after that. 3 surgeries. The coach who drafted you and helped develop you was gone. I mean, you were adding less and less value each season, and now they're 5 years removed.
And I want to move on after this. I want to get to the Boosters Club and move on after this. This is the last thing I'll say. Timeline adds up. You're exactly right, but you can't have it both ways. We talked about this with Brian Flores when the situation happened. You can't say on one hand the owners are greedy pigs. All they care about is money. They don't care about people, and they're willing to do whatever. And then on the other hand, say they won't hire certain people that may do a better job than other people because the way they
You've always hit that nail on the head.
Both of those things cannot exist at the same time. And until somebody can square that with me, with the NFL, I don't want to hear it.
And that goes for all business.
That goes for all business.
You can't say both of them.
That's a business talk. It's strictly business. And to me, this is another stunt in a line of stunts that we've seen from Kaepernick. Real quick, Blaine, before we move on, what do we got from the Boost Club?
Yeah, we got Tempo saying, this is like Colin saying, NFL has no character, and the NFL says, we're not signing you because of your character.
Listen, again, pretty simple answer. You think they're horrible people? Why would you want to work for horrible people? Especially when there's alternative leagues now that you can play in and make yourself, you know, kind of try and recreate yourself back into something else.
He's not the first person to have a problem with his employer.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, all of us at some point have a problem with our employer.
That'd be like me, like, suing the Daily Wire, then be like, hey, y'all still want me here, right?
Yeah.
Like, y'all still want me
My
here.
key card still works.
Yeah, it still works. I still get the badge, though. But
I can just see Jake calling him, my key card didn't work today. What's the problem?
Guys, what's up? What's up? What else from the Boost Club, Blaine?
Peter from Illinois says the NFL doesn't care about your personal life or your advocacy or anything. If you can help them win, they will sign you. Just look how many chances AB and Josh Gordon.
Yes, again, it's something you won't hear this in the mainstream sports media. You won't hear it, but it's the truth, and we all know it. It's honest. There's nothing wrong with being honest. I mean, if I was a Disney character, I'd be Pocahontas right now because I'm so honest. What else from the Booster Club, Blaine?
Be Short 7513759 says the Seahawks will sign him. Just watch. No, they won't.
Listen, I'm telling you, I think the NFL would be smart to do it. I think the NFL would be smart to do it. Number one, you eliminate it. It's done. You eliminate it from talking, regardless of how it is. It's going to go, you either sink or float. Because if you're the best player on that team at quarterback, they're going to play you. They're going to play you. And if you're not, and then you complain, guess what? You get cut like old hair at a new barbershop, baby. I mean, that's just how it works.
You would think, with Colin Kaepernick's history, all right, and tell me if I'm wrong or out of bounds here. If he doesn't end up starting and stays as a backup, at what point do you does it get to the point that Colin Kaepernick says the only reason they're not starting me at quarterback is the color of my skin?
Yeah, of course it will. Of course it will. Because again, this may be a way to revamp the charge.
Does that make it a win-win?
Or whatever. For the NFL? Because now you can say, listen, we brought you back, tried to give you another shot. Tim Tebow-esque, we didn't even move you to tight end.
But he's saying the reason you're not giving me a shot is because of the color of my skin.
Okay, so if what if he goes in the game and throws 4 interceptions? What are you going to say now?
No, I'm saying, what if he doesn't go What if he doesn't go into the game? Start like late in the game, yeah, that's fine. You get a driver.
Either way, you get it handled. That's just my opinion. Hey everybody, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and ring that bell. We're excited to be here. It's Crain and Company live 2 to 3 Central daily. Ring that bell. I want to hear it from coast to coast.